Good morning, welcome to Hampshire. This is day 2 of the Thruxton Retro Super Funk Weekend, a heady mix of flower power and horsepower. And look at this, first thing in the morning, and we've already got a dozen collection of Ferraris for us to enjoy in race number 1, starting the engines, perfect timing. Now, we have got some interviews with drivers coming up, and Dave Goddard's going to take you through the grid, but I'm going to pick on one car only, this one right here, the car of Jago Keane, notably for its livery. Now, Jago, can I get you in here really quickly? I know you're about to get your helmet on. I'm looking forward to another fantastic day. Tell us about this car, tell us about the paint. I'm going to call it paintwork.
Paintwork, it's definitely paintwork. Our company's all about green infrastructure, so we look after all the green stuff that you see around us. So what we've done is linked it with the event here and the sustainable fuels that were coming in. So it's all about sustaining our future. And then guys in the office came out, part of a teamwork exercise, decorated the car, obviously with leaves and flowers because we're green. And then one of the guys in the office is Nepalese, so he's kindly, for good luck, written the names of everyone that's contributed around the car in Nepalese. So it's fantastic. It's a great thing to do.
Now, we talk about Go Faster stripes. You've got Go Faster leaves. Is it going to work?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, we won class yesterday, so with any luck we'll do it again today.
Fantastic.
And it's great. And it's a lovely track, great event, so we're lucky.
And,
We're blessed.
great day, great atmosphere, great event, isn't it?
It is. It's absolutely stunning, and the music last night was great. Everyone was up there dancing, bopping around to ABBA and all that sort of carry on, and it's great. It's lovely, and lovely camaraderie here. Everyone gets on. Everyone that visits can come in, they can have a chat with us, learn about racing, take a bit of it home with them.
Have a fantastic day number 2.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Jago. Thank you so much. And we'll just take a short stroll down the assembly line here, just for you to enjoy. Now, I know for certain that Dave Goddard is watching us going, that's a that car, that's a that car, that's a that car. My knowledge doesn't run that deep, so he'll be absolutely drooling over these right now. They are absolutely incredible machines. Also coming up today, we've got the Formula Junior second race for them, the heroes of the FF 1600 Sprint Series. That is like the Dolaras and the Adrian Flux MG Owners Club coming up. 2 races for them. Race number 2 in our headline at the Jochen Rindt Trophy race. Then we go finally to the Mighty Mini. So 10 races in total to enjoy across the entire afternoon. Talking you through it will be Dave Goddard. I'm you, and I'm down here with John. What we're going to do today, yesterday we spoke to pole sitters and race winners. We're going to go for a deeper dive and speak to some of the more unique cars, interesting drivers with incredible stories. There are so many, so do stick with us throughout the entire day. But for the time being, over to your commentator for the day to run through the grid. It is Dave Goddard.
Thank you very much, Ewan. Good morning, ladies and gents, and a very warm welcome to Thruxton Circuits, the fastest race circuit in the UK here in Hampshire, for day 2 of the Thruxton Retro Super Funk Weekend. Yep, funk and disco music all yesterday evening, a great atmosphere, great camaraderie here in the paddock at Thruxton, but it's almost time to go racing. We're just coming towards the end of our final qualifying session. We welcome today the FISCAR, 50s Sports Car Club. Some very, very special cars here from them, some very beautiful machines. They'll be having their 30-minute race this afternoon. But we kick off, as you've just seen, with the, well, we call it the Superformance Ferrari Club Classic Series after its sponsor, Superformance Ferrari Parts. We're going to rename it Superfunk, I think, for this weekend. They've got 2 races today. They had one yesterday, won by Gary Culver. Second race follows... Second race for the Formula Juniors follows the single-seaters. The Formula Junior Historic Racing Association, they had the opening race yesterday. Then we have the heroes of FF 1600 Sprint Series for Formula Fords of all ages. Great to see some of the stars of single-seater racing, a little more modern, the machinery there. And then we've got the Adrian Flux Insurance MG Owners Club Championship. They've got an absolutely massive grid here this weekend, very evenly matched as well. Then we have the second race for the Jochen Rindt Trophy. That's coming up straight after our lunch break here today. We've got demonstrations of some classic Formula 1 cars as well, not a race for them, just a demonstration. That's coming up after the Heroes of FF 1600 Sprint Series race. The Jochen Rindt Trophy features a variety of single-seaters, if you didn't see it yesterday, from the likes of Formula 2 racing, Formula 3, Formula Atlantic and so on, celebrating the great Austrian, the Formula 1 world champion in 1970. He was so proficient in Formula 2 racing when it visited here at Thruxton in the late 60s. Then we have the 30-minute pit stop race for the 50 Sports Car Club, another race for the Ferraris, then the Adrian Flux MG Owners Club Championship, and that's followed by the second race of the weekend for the Mighty Minis. They were brilliant yesterday, to say the very least. Greg Jenkins taking the win there. He'll aim for a double today, and then we close out with the second race for the heroes of FF 1600 Sprint Series for Formula Ford. A packed day of racing then, 10 races to bring you today on this retro weekend here at Thruxton. The 50 Sports Car Club just coming to the end of their qualifying session in just over 1 minute's time. There was a slight delay there. We had a red flag early on in the session when Mike Henney's Turner Sports went off at the end of the lap. Hopefully he can get that back out for the race later on this afternoon. All sorts of off-track attractions here this weekend as well. We've got car clubs, we've got entertainment for younger spectators, and lots more besides that we'll take you through when we get a chance. But we're almost ready for our first race then, which is the Superformance Ferrari Club Classic, second of 3 races for them this weekend. Let's see who Ewan Dunlop was able to catch up with in the paddock earlier.
So first race of the day is the Super Performance Ferrari Classic Club Series, and as we're going to do throughout the show today is do a bit of a deeper dive into the other cars around, not necessarily the pole sitters and the winners. So I could not walk past this car, Tony, the Mondial, without coming to have a chat with you. Tell us a little bit more about it. It's an absolute monster.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I've had it about just over 3 years now, racing it competitively in the Ferrari Classic Series. Here she is, a Mondial T. The T means it's got the trans-axle engine. So same engine as a Ferrari 348, so a 3.4 litre V8. It's the heaviest car on the grid, and probably the longest and the tallest. So she's a bit of a bust to get around there, but we have a lot of fun, and we're having a lot of fun here at Thruxton this weekend, wrestling around on a very hot track. But yeah, so it's been a lot of development over the last few years. Starting with taking about 70 kilos of weight out of the car to try and get it down as much as.
Do you know what? I had a look in the door. There's nothing in there.
There really is. Anything that wasn't really necessary has now gone. On a hot day like this, I'm starting to regret some of those the finer points of air conditioning. But yeah, absolutely everything has been either removed or made much smaller.
And when you were choosing a car to purchase, I'm sure there was many. What drew you to the Mondial? It's a really unique version, isn't it?
That was a really simple answer.
Cost?
It's the cheapest car on the grid. I mean, there's no such thing as cheap racing, and there's certainly no such thing as cheap Ferrari racing. But honestly, the Mondial has never been the most expensive Ferrari to buy. The car was already converted for racing when I got it. But yeah, so I always say, don't race a car you can't afford to walk away from it financially.
Good mantra.
So yeah, but the problem with it is they only made around 50 right-hand drive Mondials. So finding spares is a real challenge for me, and it's a constant thing that you're trolling sort of free ads, eBay, whatever you can find, and if you see something, a wing or any piece of trim, you think, oh, I'll have that because it'll go and thrown in the back of the garage. You never know. You never know.
And just for those that don't know, in terms of the series, 3 races this weekend. You race about sort of 4 or 5 times a year. How does the series work in terms of points and overall champions and things?
Okay, so each race is a race in its own right as a series. So there'll be a podium. There are 5 classes running at the moment. You'll see on the doors of all the cars here, they've got different little numbers on. So I run in class 4. So it's the biggest class this weekend, so there's a good battle going on in, say, the midfield. Up the front end of the grid, we've got the 355 challenge cars running in classes 5 and 6. Across the 3 weekends we do, we collect what we call house points, and there's a point system based on your grid position and the class you're in, and at the end of the year we have a nice get together, and there was some sort of big shiny trophies to class winners and good performance.
Excellent. Tony, thank you for your time. Best of luck. Can't wait to see you out there.
Brilliant. Thank you very
so
much. Take care.
Right, it is time to go for the second time this weekend. Super Ferrari racing. Over to you, Dave.
Thanks, Ewan, and thanks to Tony Claringbold there. Used to race in the Mighty Minis Championship a few years ago before buying his Ferrari Mondial. He'll be lining up on the 4th row of the grid for this second of 3 races this weekend for the Superformance Ferrari Club Classic Series, run in association with the Ferrari Owners Club of Great Britain. We saw their first race yesterday. It was won at a canter by Gary Culver in his 328 GTB. Long time Ferrari racer is Gary. Has got quite a collection of Ferraris, including the 458 GT3 spec car that he took me round Croft Circuit in a few years ago at a Ferrari Owners Club event for some unforgettable passenger laps. It really was quite wonderful to experience the raw power of a GT3 car, even if it was just from the passenger seat. So yesterday we saw Gary Culver take the win. It was Tim Mogridge in second in his 355, but Tim not racing in this second race today. He's withdrawn, unfortunately, so may have had a problem with the car ahead of this race. Also number 30 Peter Fisk, who we saw racing yesterday, he won't be out in today's race, so a couple of withdrawals off the grid. The grid for this race set by the second fastest time from the qualifying session that took place yesterday morning. And as Tony Claringbold was explaining there are 6 different classes in the Superformance Ferrari Club Classic Series, all based on the age of the car and how modified the car is, as well as its engine capacity. Tony Claringbold was explaining his car has the same engine as a Ferrari 348, 3.4 litre V8 engine. Ferrari have a variety of different ways of naming their models, some based on engine size, some based on engine capacities and so on. As we await the cars to be released from the assembly area, the qualifying session having not long come to an end for the 50 Sports Car Club. Great to see plenty of fans at trackside enjoying the action, and great to see so many of you both on YouTube and pay-per-view. Now, the first hour of today's stream is available for free on YouTube. Then we will switch solely to our pay-per-view coverage this weekend. So do join us via the 247 TV website, 247.tv, to buy our stream for the full day of action. But we do have some free content for you on YouTube in the early part of today's stream. Just looking over the airfield from the control tower. It is an active airfield here at Thruxton, as the cars are starting to be released by the marshals from the assembly area. There's Colin Sauter, the championship sponsor, well, the series sponsor. It's not a championship, as we heard. There's no points on offer for these races. That's Colin Sauter in the silver Ferrari 355 Spider. I'll give you the full grid in just a moment. There's Jago Keen's car. I've already met him. He's racing in the Jochen Rindt Trophy in his Palliser single-seater today as well. And there's number 44, Chris Compton Goddard. Now, if you're watching yesterday, he was in a Ferrari 355 then. That broke down, unfortunately, so he's gone home and got his 308 out of his collection of Ferraris. He's quite a collector, is Chris Compton Goddard. No relation, incidentally. And he's gone back and fetched his 308 from home, and he's going to be racing that today, starting from the back. Right at the back, Nigel Jenkins, number 54. There he is. Now, after qualifying yesterday, his car failed scrutineering. It was found to be under the weight limit, and so he had his times disallowed, and he has to start the first 2 races from the back with a 10-second penalty. Full grid reads as follows. Front row, Gary Culver, number 34 in the 328, and the similar car of Chris Butler, number 5, alongside him. Second row, Colin Sauter in the 355 Spider, the boss of Superformance Classic Ferrari parts. Starts alongside Robin Bisbrook, the Dutchman, in his 348 Challenge car. Third row, number 10, Philip Connell in his yellow 355 Challenge, alongside Miles Poulton in a 328 GTS. And on row 4, it's Colin Sauter's old car being driven by Lewis Sharman, the Ferrari 348 Challenge, alongside Tony Claringbold in his Mondial. We heard from him earlier. Completing the top 10, number 8, Vance Kearney, alongside number 12, Peter Everingham, 355 and 328. Row 6, it is Jago Keen in his impressively decorated 308 GTB, alongside Ray Ferguson, number 27 in his 355. Row 7, Nick Whittaker in the older Ferrari 308 GT4, the Ferrari Dino, named after the son of Enzo Ferrari himself, of course. Chris Compton Goddard alongside him, having changed car into his 308 GTB, and Nigel Jenkins will start at the back with a 10-second penalty after failing scrutineering after qualifying yesterday. Yesterday's race, it was Gary Culver who won ahead of Tim Mogridge. So Tim not racing in this second race. Chris Butler was third. And Nigel Jenkins came through from the back to finish 4th. They all won their classes. The other class winner was Jago Keane in Class 2 further down the order. No Class 1 entries this weekend. Let's wait to see if Vance Kearney's back out because he failed to finish yesterday's race. Gary Culver, the red machine with the yellow headlamps, leads them up to the grid. Chris Butler's 328 alongside him in navy blue and red. Then the new 355 Spider of Colin Souter, the silver car. Then the 2 yellow cars, the 348 of Robin Bisbrook and Philip Connell's 355. Yes, Vance Kearney is there, the white 355, number 8. As they come through the club chicane up to the grid, it'll be a standing start. This will be a 20-minute race. Marshals get them into line on, well, you can't really call it the pit straight because it's not straight. It's quite curved. There aren't really many long straights here at Thruxton with the exception of the run up Woodham Hill. If you've not seen racing here at Thruxton before, you have a real treat coming up, especially from the Ferraris. Superformance Ferrari Club Classic Series organised by the Ferrari Owners Club of Great Britain. Some of the slightly older Ferraris in the mid-90s backwards, the 355s, the newest cars seen on this grid. Just awaiting the all clear then. The marshal at the back of the grid waves the green flag. And there is the green flag. And the 5-second board is held aloft by the starting marshal. It's time to go racing here at Thruxton on this retro Super Funk weekend, day 2. Waiting for the red lights to come on when they go out. We'll be underway. Gary Culver and Chris Butler from the front row. Off they go. They both make a great start. Decent start by Philip Connell from the 3rd row of the grid in the yellow 355 as well. Nigel Jenkins awaits with that penalty as they head through Allard Curve for the first time. And then it's up towards the complex. Everybody's got away cleanly. Vance Kearney with the headlights on the number 8 355. So it's into the complex. The right at Campbell, the left at Cobb, and then the right at Seagrave. It's Gary Culver already with a clear lead. Long time Ferrari racer in that 328 GTB ahead of Chris Butler in 2nd place. Colin Souter is in 3rd, running a bit wide there in 4th position. I think that's Miles Poulton. He's made a good start from 6th on the grid up into 4th position. It's out into the country, the left at Noble, then the right-hander here is Goodwood Corner, then up towards Village, and then to Church Corner, the fastest corner on a circuit in the UK. Already starting to string out slightly the classic Ferraris. There's Nigel Jenkins already starting to make up ground from his additional handicap. They head out of Village, then up towards the right-hander at Church. There's Robin Bisbrook, the Dutchman. Great to have him over in the 348s. Midfielders make their way through. Tony Claringbold's dropped back a bit in the Mondial, number 55, the only Ferrari Mondial currently racing in the UK. Up Woodham Hill through the left flick at Brooklands Corner, and then into the chicane. Past the new spectator banking. Several spectators already looking on from up there. Into the chicane. Robin Bisbrook coming under fire from Vance Kearney in the number 8s. As them filter through behind. Leading the way it is Gary Culver. He leads by just over 1.5 seconds at the end of the opening lap from Chris Butler. Souter in 3rd place. Vance Kearney's had a fantastic start. He's gained 4 places and he's just gained another one. He's up 5 places from his starting position. He's into 4th place ahead of Robin Bisbrook. Then it's Miles Poulton and Lewis Sharman in the 328 and the 348s. Into the complex come the lower reaches of the top 10. Philip Connell's dropped back after a pretty quick start in the number 10. I think he got crowded out at Allard for the first time. Named after Sidney Allard, sports car builder and racer, won the Monte Carlo Rally in the early 50s and also the pioneer of drag racing in Britain. Various other corners on the Thruxton circuit, Campbell, Cobb, Seagrave and Noble, of course, all named after British holders of the land speed record. Goodwood and Brooklands named after famous circuits, and Church Corner so named because the church in Thruxton Village is a short distance to the outside behind the trees. There's Colin Souter in the 355 Spider, giving chase to Chris Butler for 2nd place overall. They're both leading their classes 3 and 5. Gary Culver's a class 4 car, he's away and gone in front. Souter, who's ironed out a few teething troubles with the new 355 Spider race car for this season. Closing up on Chris Butler for 2nd position. Out of the chicane to complete their 2nd lap. Culver's away and gone. nearly 5 seconds up, 4.7 to give the exact margin. He's lapping 3 seconds quicker than the two behind him. Through in 4th place is Vance Kearney. He's going well, leading Class 6 for the later 355 cars. Into the complex for the 3rd time. Saw the Minis making some good moves there in the Mighty Minis race yesterday. We did unfortunately see a collision between a Shelby Mustang and an AC Cobra as well in the GT and Sports Car Cup race. Cobra continued to finish 2nd. There's Vance Kearney, a much better run from him. He failed to finish yesterday's race, pulled into the pits midway through. Here's a battle between Robin Bisbrook, Miles Poulton and Lewis Sharman in the ex-Colin Sauter 348. They're the white roofed red car. Most of these cars in Rosso Corsa, the racing colour of Italy. Running a bit wide there, Robin Bisbrook, as they cut through Goodwood. Behind them it's Connell, Claringbold and Peter Everingham in number 12 in his white 328 GTB. This is the battle for 5th position now, heading up towards Church Corner. What a great shot this is as they come towards us through the fastest corner in the country. And it's up Woodham Hill. Plenty of overtaking opportunities under braking for the club chicane. In the chicane they come. Bisbrook staying ahead of Poulton. 2.36 miles the Thruxton circuit. Starting to queue up now behind Philip Connell. There's Claringbold and there's Peter Everingham, the number 12, with the white car with the red stripe. Chasing Tony Claringbold for 9th position. Nigel Jenkins, meanwhile, is up into 11th position from the back of the field. He's lapping about 1.5 seconds quicker than the cars ahead of him. We just caught a glimpse of him there in the background. The red 355 with the white wheels and the gold rear wing. Robin Bisbrook getting a little bit crossed up there as he came out of the complex. This is going to allow Miles Poulton, the red car with the white stripe, to close in, trying to take P5. They're fighting for 2nd in Class 4, same class as Gary Culver, who leads by 6 3/4 seconds now. Good run by Vance Kearney after his problems yesterday. Much better run for the white 355 up in 4th place. There's Nigel Jenkins. Race more modern Ferraris as well. Won an open event, I remember, at the Ferrari Owners Club weekend at Croft a few years ago in his Ferrari 430 Challenge car. The Ferrari Club Classic Series, as the name suggests, open to the earlier models of Ferrari, the 355 and older. There goes Chris Butler over the line. He's still 2nd, but 8.8 seconds down now. Starting to spread out. This is the main battle at the moment. Poulton ahead of Sharman, Connell, Claringbold, and he's being pursued by Peter Everingham. Interesting to see what happens if Nigel Jenkins catches this little lot up, because of course they're losing time battling each other at the moment. Side by side there through Allard between Vance Kearney and Colin Sauter. Kearney's going for 3rd place on the inside. Sauter late on the brakes for the complex. And absolutely side by side through there now. Sauter's got the inside line for the left-hander and he just about holds the place. Good driving there by Colin Sauter, the man behind Superformance Ferrari parts, being chased hard by Vance Kearney. It's a good fight developing. 355 Spider against 355 hardtop, the 355 Berlinetta. Now can Robin Bisbrook reel them in? These three about 9 seconds down on 2nd placed Chris Butler, so the first two are away and gone. Here's a battle further back. Chris Compton Goddard, having switched to his Ferrari 308, battling the similar machine of Jago Keane. Behind them, Ray Ferguson in the number 27. I believe he used to race MGs a few years ago. There goes Gary Culver out of the chicane. Won more races in Ferraris than I think even he can remember over the years. His gap was 8.8 seconds. Let's see what it is this time through as we wait for Chris Butler to cross the line. It's 11 seconds now. Culver's pulling away at the rate of nearly 3 seconds a lap. Sauter next, then Kearney, Bisbrook, Poulton, Sharman and the rest of them. Nigel Jenkins into this battle now as well. There it is, the number 54. He's got ahead of Peter Everingham's number 12. His next targets will be Tony Claringbold in the Ferrari Mondial. Certainly great to see a Mondial out there, something a little bit different to the 328s, 308s and 355s. A couple of 348 challenge cars in there as well. That was the first one-make series, the Ferrari Challenge used. Then it moved on to the 355, the 360 Challenge, then the 458 and the 488 came along. Ferrari Challenge Europe used to visit Silverstone every year for the Ferrari Racing Days Festival. It's great to be involved in a couple of those on a personal note a few years ago. The Ferrari Formula Classic, as it was known then, the Ferrari Club Classic as it is now, did race at a couple of those as well. Out in the country, the midfield, well, there's Lewis Sharman ahead of Phil Connell. Jenkins has got ahead of Tony Claringbold in the Mondial. Still Gary Culver pulling away all the time at the front of the field. Is Phil Connell thinking about a move on Lewis Sharman for 7th position? A little bit wide there, Sharman into the chicane. Well, he's got to be mindful that Nigel Jenkins is closing up as well. Ooh, nearly a bit of rubbing there between the two 355s. They were side by side into the chicane. That doesn't normally work, and wisely Nigel Jenkins backed out of it. Peter Everingham's got a run on Tony Claringbold. I think Claringbold slowed when he saw the 355s together in front of him and wanted to avoid any contretemps between those two. But the loss of momentum has allowed Peter Everingham to get through into what is now 10th place. Won't matter too much, there's no points on these races. It is a series, not a championship. Gary Culver with the fastest lap of the race, 129.66. Still lapping in the high 129s. Those behind him are in the 133s. So Culver continues to pull away from Butler and Sauter. They're separated by just over 10 seconds, 10.8. Vance Kearney has just done his personal best lap, 132.7. We've got a car into the pits as well. It's Nick Whittaker from the back of the field, the number 48, the 308 Dino. As Nigel Jenkins roars past Phil Connell going into Church Corner. A couple of cars battling towards the back. We've got Chris Compton Goddard, Jago Keane and Ray Ferguson. They're fighting over 12th place and the lead in Class 2 as well, because Chris Compton Goddard, of course, change of car, change of class into Class 2. Battling with Jago Keane. Ray Ferguson behind them is a Class 5 car. Yellow 355 with the Italian tricolore stripe down it. Chris Compton Goddard, we've seen him out in an older 308 GT4 in the past. He's got I think it's a 360 in his collection as well for Ferraris. Did his 355 yesterday, but that's broken, so he's gone home overnight and got his 308. Used to share with Dave Coyne, the former single-seater star. In Formula 3000 for a couple of years, came close to making it to F1 at one stage with the fledgling Jordan team. It was meant to be racing a Jaguar E-Type yesterday in the Classic K race, but unfortunately it failed to start. Dave Coyne is here this weekend. Normally used to share Ferraris in the Brick Car Endurance Series, among other things, with Chris Compton Goddard, who's under threat here from Jago Keane. Goes to the outside on the left-hander. You see Compton Goddard is wise to him there, moving across to take the line for the left-hander. Jago Keane tries to cut back in. Busy weekend for Jago, racing his Palliser in the Jochen Rindt Trophy as well. And they're both under threat from Ray Ferguson in the number 27. Gary Culver has now completed 8 laps. He's nearly 18 seconds clear of Chris Butler now. Colin Sauter's closed it a bit on Chris Butler, 8.3 seconds the gap there. Nigel Jenkins has gained a couple of places further back. He's up to 6th now. He's got ahead of Miles Poulton and Lewis Sharman. Sharman's lost out to Connell as well. Checking the TSL timing screen, tsl-timing.com, the place to follow all the live timing from this event. This battle continues on. Here comes Ray Ferguson up Woodham Hill, attacking Jago Keane. Is he going to go for the inside on the chicane? Looks like it. 355 goes through past the older 308s. Have a go at Chris Compton Goddard as well. Jago Keane fighting back on the inside in his newly sign-written car. Wonderful to look at in the assembly area, that was. Side by side through Allard, up towards the left flick at Green, as it's been named, after Andy Green, the current holder of the land speed record in Thrust SSC. Chris Compton Goddard still 12th overall and leads Class 2. No entries in Class 1. Class 3 is led by Chris Buckler, Class 4 by Gary Culver, Class 5 by Colin Souter and Class 6 by Vance Kearney. Class 1 normally the preserve of William Morwood in his older 308s, the London-based architect, but not out this weekend. Another place gain for Nigel Jenkins, who's got ahead of Robin Bisbrook on the chicane. Sharman has dropped behind Peter Everingham as well. Slower lap for Sharman that time. There's the 348 ahead of Tony Claringbold. 5.5 minutes of this race still to go. Barring any mechanical maladies with his 328, Gary Culver, I would say, has got this one in the bag. Heading for his second win of the weekend. Here's the battle between Philip Connell, now being reeled in by Peter Everingham. This is for 8th place. Both second in their classes, Connell in Class 5 and Everingham in Class 3. Still this battle going on at the back of the field, and Gary Culver's coming up to lap them. Hoping that they see his yellow headlighted Rosso Corsa liveried 328 GTB in their mirrors and move out of his way. Marshals will be helping, of course. The marshals will display the blue flags to warn the back markers that the leader is approaching. Big thanks to our volunteer marshals here this weekend. We couldn't go racing without them. Gary Culver just perhaps hanging back there through the complex. He wants to pass them on a less twisty bit of track. First to be lapped will be Ray Ferguson. He moves aside, driving Ray. It's Gary through. The two blue machines will allow the number 34 to pass, coming up towards Church Corner. Well, there goes Colin Souter. He's still third. He's pulled away again from Vance Kearney. Kearney could come under attack from Nigel Jenkins, who's now up to P5, having started from the back. Different criteria to decide the grid for race 3 later on. I think it's a partially reversed grid based on the result of this one. Wait and confirm that later on though, so it will give Nigel Jenkins a better chance. Storms past Vance Kearney there into Goodwood Corner. He went past Vance Kearney, I fancy, there a little bit too quickly. Is Kearney in trouble again? That white 355 looked like it was slowing down to me. Yes, the 348 of Robin Bisbrook's going past him. I think Vance Kearney's in trouble, unfortunately. Well, that's put Nigel Jenkins into the lead of Class 6 as well. See as they come up per Woodham Hill. Yes, Kearney's slowing down, unfortunately. So I think he's heading for the pits. Miles Poulton coming up on him. There's Phil Connell and Peter Everingham. And still these two at it further back, the two Class 2 cars. Jago Keane trying to get another run. Not quite there, coming out of Seagrave Corner up towards the left at Noble. It's into the right-hander at Goodwood. Compton Goddard on the inside. Keane trying to go around the outside. That's not a move we see very often, but it's worked. Oh, Compton Goddard slowing down. Into the pits comes Vance Kearney. Compton Goddard's going to follow him. So both drivers we saw have problems yesterday are in trouble again. And at the same time, I think Compton Goddard's going to be heading for the pits as well. Oh dear. That's two broken Ferraris in one weekend for Chris Compton Goddard. What a shame. He's heading for the class win there as well. Let's hope he can get that car back out for race 3. Gary Culver completes his 12th lap lapping in the mid 130s now, so I think he's eased off a little. It is a warm day here at Thruxton. Over the line goes the lapped car of Ray Ferguson. He's now up to 13th. Jago Keane then is guaranteed the win in Class 2 with Chris Compton-Goddard coming into the pits. What a disappointment. The 308 was going so well. Hopefully, whatever the problem is, he can rectify that for race 3. He's up just behind Vance Kearney. Vance gets out. There's Chris Buckler. We haven't seen much of him in today's race, and the gap is coming down between him and Colin Sauter as well. Sauter's lapping about a second a lap quicker at the moment in the Spider. You can see a change for second. Shame we haven't got Tim Mogridge out there as well in this race, because he was battling with these two yesterday for second and third. So 3 retirements so far. Kearney, Compton-Goddard, and early we lost Nick Whittaker's 308s from the back of the field. There's only just over 30 seconds left on the clock now, so it might well be checkered flag this time. We'll wait to see if Gary Culver gets another lap out of this. Buckler hustles his 328 through Church Corner, the fastest corner in the country. Menacing looking car in that very, very dark blue livery. Gary Culver is across the line to start his final lap. There are about 20 seconds left on the clock when he went across the stripe that time, so we're on the last lap now. He's not been troubled so far in either race this weekend. He'll go for a hat-trick later on. 4 o'clock is the scheduled start time for our third race of the weekend for the Superformance Ferrari Club Classic Series. It's been an inch-perfect weekend so far for Gary Culver. Long-time member of the Ferrari Owners Club of Great Britain. Phil Connell possibly thinking about a move on Miles Poulton, getting a bit closer to the back of the older 328s. Peter Everingham in behind them. Lewis Sharman, has he dropped away in the 348 as well? Pick that up as they come round to take the flag, because Gary Culver is entering Church Corner. It's going to be 2 out of 2. Heads up Woodham Hill for the last time. Through the left at Brooklands, up towards the chicane. Onto the brakes. It's going to be a double victory. Nicely done by Gary Culver. A dominant weekend so far for the 328s. Checkered flag is at the ready, and Gary Culver is our first winner of the day here at Thruxton. He's not put a wheel wrong so far this weekend. Now, there were just over 4 seconds between Chris Buckler and Colin Sauter. Some lap traffic coming through first, including Jago Keane, who will win Class 2 in car number 50. 2 class wins this weekend for him. Finishes just behind Ray Ferguson, 11th and 12th overall. Await our second place man there is Chris Buckler. He takes second and wins Class 3. Colin Sauter will come in third. He wins Class 5 in the 355 Spider. And Nigel Jenkins from the back of the grid up to 4th. He wins Class 6. Next through, we should see Robin Biesbroek, the Dutchman, in the Ferrari 348 as Gary Culver celebrates. Hand out of the window. And next through, Miles Poulton crosses the line ahead of Philip Connell behind Robin Biesbroek, so 5th, 6th and 7th fairly close together, just about 3 or 4 seconds apart. Peter Everingham is next home. Should see Lewis Sharman there. He is dropped away a little bit in the middle of that race ahead of Tony Claringbold. I think that's all 12 cars home. We lost 3 cars into the pits. Provisional result then of our second race of the weekend for the Superformance Ferrari Club Classic Series. Gary Culver takes the win and wins Class 4 by almost 27 seconds ahead of Chris Buckler. Colin Sauter a further 3.7 seconds back in third, and Nigel Jenkins from the back in fourth, and he set the fastest lap on the final lap as well, 129.596. All 4 of them win their classes. The other class winner was Jago Keane in Class 2, down in 12th position. We lost Vance Kearney after a strong run earlier on. Chris Compton-Goddard dropping out as well. Not sure if he's got a third Ferrari he can race in race 3 if he can't repair the 308. And Nick Whittaker dropped out early on as well. Well done to the Ferrari Club Classic Series, sponsored by Superformance Ferrari Parts. And we await our race winner to head back. He's just heading up Woodham Hill now, waving to our volunteer marshals and to the spectators as well on this Super Funk weekend here at Thruxton. The Thruxton Retro presenting Super Funk. We are celebrating everything 1970s. The 328 and the 308, of course, were very much supercars of the 70s. Superseded by quicker Ferraris these days, but in their day, very impressive little supercars indeed. They make a great entry into classic Ferrari ownership these days as well. If you're interested in perhaps owning a car similar to that of Gary Culver, maybe contact the Ferrari Owners Club of Great Britain. I'm sure they'd be happy to help if you want to take a step into Ferrari ownership. Cars heading into pit lane now then. Shortly it'll be down to Parc Fermé to have a word with Gary Culver, Chris Butler and company. Then they'll get ready for race 3 coming up this afternoon. Next on our programme we have the Formula Junior single-seaters. Plenty of attractions on the infield for the spectators this weekend as well. Various car club meetups, Formula 1 demonstrations later on. There's live music as well, and much, much more. But we're now ready to hand down to Ewan Dunlop and Parc Fermé.
Cheers, Dave. So a second consecutive win of 3 for Gary Culver in the 34. As Dave said, he has not put a wheel wrong so far this weekend. Purely dominant. Chris Butler, third in the race yesterday, moves up one step on the podium into second. We'll jump in with our race winner straight away. Gary, congratulations. It's perfection, really, I've got to say.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but yeah, nice drive. Really enjoyed it actually. Thruxton has always been one of my favourite circuits, to be honest, and the Ferrari 328 is so well balanced. It's perfect for this circuit.
Oh no, you're doing it well. See you later on to the third race this afternoon.
Okay, thanks very much.
Going for the hat-trick, Gary Culver. Quick chat with Chris Butler if we can. I'll see if we can jump in here. Congratulations, another step up on the podium.
Yeah, up to second this time, very pleased with that. Car's still in one piece, and I've burned another 100 calories, I think, easy, maybe 200. Brilliant, really good.
Can you catch Gary?
No, I don't think so. He's got more power, he's got more skill. You know, to be second, I'm delighted with that, really pleased.
We'll look forward to seeing you later on today. Well done.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm not even sure if you can hear us over here, John. The Formula Juniors to our right-hand side are going out very shortly. I just want to try and grab a chat with Jago Keane, if we've got time, because he was the chap with the impressive livery. And they're just about to go out, so just very, very quickly, Jago, the flower power worked!
Flower power, class win. I think it was you. You're my lucky talisman. Can you come to every race with me?
I will gladly join you in the passenger seat as well.
Help yourself. Next time we do a test day, come along.
Thank you so much, cheers, buddy. Right, Formula Juniors are going out. We've got a pre-race interview coming up, or might just be straight to Dave. Now, on today's show, as well as speaking to our pole sitters and our winners, we're going to get a little bit of a deeper dive into the cars here at the Thruxton Retro. And I found Peter Fenechel in the Stanguellini Formula Junior, the earlier series of front-loading engine. Peter, you're going to tell us a little bit more about this car, how it came to your ownership as well, and how much you enjoy racing it.
This car was one of the original Stanguellini Formula Juniors from 1959. Formula Junior started in 58. 59, the Stanguellini company was building these. This was the first Stanguellini exported to America.
I love that.
And Briggs Cunningham's team, and it was driven mostly by a fellow named Walt Hansgen, who unfortunately was killed at Le Mans in '67 in a testing accident. But Walt drove this car very successfully in America. He won the first ever Formula Junior race at Watkins Glen in '59 in this car. He won the Sebring support race to the U.S. Grand Prix in December '59. Very successful. But as we all know, the cars shifted front engine to rear engine right after this 1959 into early 60, and by March, April 60, most of the cars competitively were rear engine cars with Cooper, Brabham.
We'll hear a bit more from American Peter Fenichel a bit later on, because the cars are coming up to the grid for our second race of the weekend for the Formula Junior cars, the Formula Junior Historic Racing Association Championship, sponsored by Silverline Tools. The grid set by qualifying yesterday, and it's yesterday's winner, Stuart Roach, in the Alexis Mark III on pole, alongside Nick Carlton-Smith in his Lotus. Second row, Nathan Metcalf in a Lotus 20, and Ray Mallock in the Mallock U2, built by his father back in the early 60s. Row 3, James Hicks and Adrian Russell in Caravelle and Condor. Row 4, Alan Schmidt in his Brabham, and Keith Pickering in the Britannia. Completing the top 10, Chris Porritt in his Lotus 18, and Chris Drake in the Terrier. Chris Porritt, who just pipped Keith Pickering for the class win by a few thousandths of a second yesterday. Row 6, David Watkins, the Australian, alongside Trevor Griffiths, Elfin and Emeryson there. Row 7, Alex Morton's front-engine Condor, alongside Chris Wilkes in the unique Deep Sanderson. Row 8, Gary Thomas in the Welsh-built Kieft. Mark Woodhouse in the Elva alongside him. Then row 9, John Hutchinson Jr. Missed yesterday's race. Hopefully he's there for this one alongside John Timoney. On the 10th row, Andrea Guarino, the Italian, in the Elva 100, and Justin Fleming in the Lola Mark II. Then on the 11th row, we have Martin Shepherd Stanguilini and George Christodoulou's BMC. That's out there. And right at the back, Peter Fenichel, the American we just heard from in the Stanguilini FJ, the very early type front engine cars. Formula Junior created in 1958 by Italian Count Johnny Lurani. This will be a 20-minute race then. Stuart Roach was the winner yesterday. He starts from pole in the orange liveried Alexis Mark III, one of the rear engine cars, various classes according to engine type, age of car and so on. The race is about to get underway. These fantastic little single-seaters. Revs rise, quite a hold on the lights, but we are underway. Down towards Allard for the first time. Keith Pickering making a good start there in the number 140. It's the Britannia FJ, but it is Stuart Roach who leads the way. Nick Carlton-Smith, not such a good start this time. Looks like Nathan Metcalf has got up into second place in the Lotus 20. Peter Fenichel with a bit of a slow getaway. He's at the back as the cars head through the complex for the first time. Roach leads it from Metcalf. Nick Carlton-Smith in third place. In the original historic racing club, the Formula Junior Historic Racing Association, formed back in 1975, celebrating their Golden Jubilee. This year, these little cars raced all over the world. They were the original Formula One feeder series, say created by Count Giovanni Johnny Lurani, an Italian racing driver around the time of the Second World War. He was lamenting the fact that not enough young Italian racers were coming through the ranks into Formula One, so he decided to create a feeder series, and Formula Junior was born. The cars originally using 1100cc Fiat and Lancia engines before the likes of Ford engines and commentary Climax engines came in later on. There's Gary Thomas, number 38, incidentally, in the Kieft. That car failed to finish yesterday. Good to see it's back out for today, making a move there up Woodham Hill. Moving ahead of, I think that's the Emeryson there, yes, the number 30 car, driven by Trevor Griffiths, built by Paul Emery, who briefly broke into Formula One in the late 50s, and Alex Morton, number 8 in the front engine Condor, is in behind them. Car number 2, that's Mark Woodhouse in the Elva 100. Raced that car for many, many years now. Chris Porritt's just ahead of him. We saw him take a win in the Jochen Rindt Trophy in a rather quicker single-seater yesterday. What a fine sight these little single-seaters make. Formula Junior may have only run for a few years, 1958 up to 1963, when Formula 3 became more popular internationally. These cars have such a following. So many of them have been lovingly preserved, as we see here today. There's international tours, there's the Lurani Trophy Championship run across the continent of Europe. Chris Porritt dives up the inside there past the number 30 of Trevor Griffiths in the Emeryson. Nick Here's our leader. It is still Stuart Roach in the Alexis Mark III, who leads the way, the very quick rear engine car. Class A is for the earliest cars this race. There's classes B1, B2, C1, C2, right up to Class E, which is the later cars. The cars fitted with disc brakes. Spec of car determining which class you're in. There's often separate races run for the front engine cars, but all together on the same grid this weekend. Nathan Metcalf and Nick Carlton-Smith, the two Lotuses, in second and third. Then there's a gap back to fourth place. Looks like his number 71 is James Hicks in the Caravelle in fourth position. Then it is Ray Mallock in the number 32, more famous as a team boss in motorsport in more recent years, has won British touring car titles. Ray Mallock Limited, running the likes of John Cleland. One car slowing there by the look of it. It's the number 38 again of Gary Thomas. I think is in trouble again, unfortunately. The Kiev. It's Ray Mallock driving the car built by his father, Major Arthur Mallock, a pioneer in British club racing. The Mallock U2, named because of the ethos that if you buy one, you too can go racing for a fraction of the cost of international competition. That was the ethos behind Mallock, very famous for their Clubman's sports cars as well. There's number 8, so that's Alex Morton in his Condor, the front engine machine. One Nathan Metcalf giving chase to our race leader. Nick Carlton-Smith's got the fastest lap, so they're closing up, these three. A couple of non-starters in this one from yesterday's race. Nick Carlton-Smith is closing on Nathan Metcalf, so we could have a three-way battle for the lead between these three of the later rear engine cars out in front. James Hicks still fourth, then Mallock fifth. Alan Schmidt is in sixth position. They're both leading their classes. Mallock the first of the front engine cars. And Alan Schmidt in the Brabham BT6, another of the later machines in Class E1. Built by the great Sir Jack Brabham, of course, 3 times Formula One world champion. Quarter distance reach, 15 minutes to go as the leaders head out of the complex. These three nearly 8 seconds clear of Hicks in fourth place. There are some very rare cars in this one, including one that's a complete one-off. That's Chris Wilkes, number 40, the Deep Standerson. There's the 140 car, that's the Britannia, driven by Keith Pickering. He had a terrific scrap in yesterday's race with Chris Porritt. They're currently 8th and 9th, so they're looking to renew their dice. Here's Porritt coming through now, just ahead of Alex Morton in the Condor. Here's a battle between rear and front engine. That's Alan Schmidt, the number 23 of Adrian Russell in his Condor S2, and up the inside Nick Carlton-Smith into the chicane. He takes second place. Good move on the brakes there, and he's sideways. Look at that, throwing the car around. That's how you drive an early single-seater. Spectacular from Nick Carlton-Smith, lapping Peter Fenichel, the American, there at the wheel of the Italian-built Stanguellini, one of the older cars on the grid. Hearing the story of the ex-Walt Hansken machine in the build-up to this race. We'll hear more from Peter a little bit later on. New fastest lap for Nick Carlton-Smith despite that slide as well, 1:27.601, so he's going after Stuart Roach out in front. Will Roach respond here? Changed for 5th on that lap as well. Mallock has dropped a couple of spots. Schmidt and Russell have got past the Mallock U2. Ray Mallock is down to 7th place, and he's lost the lead of his class as well to Adrian Russell, the front engine machines. First three are well clear though, 12 seconds clear now to be precise of James Hicks in 4th. Here's Chris Porritt, number 77, the ex-Aston Martin racer, fighting it out with Alex Morton. Porritt will jump out of his Formula Junior, the Lotus 18, and get into his rather more powerful single-seater, the Chevron B40, the ex-Davina Galitza machine, which he'll race in the Jochen Rindt Trophy. A rather more powerful single-seater as Nick Carlton-Smith up the inside into the chicane. He goes through. Superb, takes the lead from, and again he's sideways through, as is Stuart Roach. Oh, brilliant. Driving these two like a pair of go-karts, these little Formula Junior cars. Battle is well and truly joined at the front of the field then. Nick Carlton-Smith takes it up ahead of Stuart Roach. A little further back now is Nathan Metcalf in third place in his Lotus 20. Nick Carlton-Smith from Stowmarket in Suffolk. Chased now by Stuart Roach. He comes from Southampton. Nathan Metcalf from Northamptonshire. Great fight between these three, are really flinging with abandon these little machines around. The Lotus taking the lead from the Alexis. You normally see a front-engined Alexis out there as well, in the hands of Duncan Robagliati, who's done so much to further the cause of historic Formula Junior racing over the years, but he's not here this weekend, sadly. Here's some runners further down the order. That group led by the Deep Sanderson. The definitive article used there because it is the only Formula Junior car that Deep Sanderson, more famous for their racing sports cars, ever built. Chris Wilkes driving it this weekend. Behind them we've got 35 of John Hutchinson Jr. Now he failed to race yesterday, didn't start the first race, so good to see the 35 out there, the Envoy FJ. That's the silver car, second in this group. And behind them we've got number 121 is Andrea Guarino, the Italian, in his Elva 100. Battles all the way down the field wherever you look. The leaders lapping a couple of back markers there. That's the BMC of number 57, George Christodoulou, going a lap down. Also in there was one of the Stanguilinis, which will be Martin Shepherd, number 37. Looks like a Maserati 250F Grand Prix car in miniature, doesn't it? I'm sure that was the intention of Stanguilini. Coming up to half distance in this race, and we are going to come to the end of our YouTube coverage very shortly, so thanks to those who have tuned in on YouTube. If you want to continue viewing the action from Thruxton, we're switching to our pay-per-view stream, so go to 247.tv to join us on pay-per-view. Thanks to those who have watched on YouTube today, and do join us via our pay-per-view stream. There are lots more of this great action from Thruxton as Stuart Roach comes trying to come back as they come into the chicane. I think we've lost Ray Mallock, unfortunately. The U2 is dropping down the timing screen, so I think he's out of the race. Again, the leader's throwing it sideways through the chicane. This is brilliant. Across the line.